Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the H3 podcast. This week, we got ya boy, Leafy's here.
What's up, reptiles?
He's a popular YouTuber that got famous for making fun of various children all across the World Wide Web.
That's right.
Now, Leafy, I gotta ask you something.
Sure, what's up?
After being off of YouTube for so long, what made you want to come back on this podcast specifically?
Well, I just wanted to make amends after the beef we had almost 4 years ago, and just put all that shit behind us.
Aww. Wow, that's pretty noble of someone with no chin.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's jump into our first topic. What did you think of Joker?
Oh yeah, Joker. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty decent flick.
Excuse me, what did you just say?
Yeah, I said that Joker was alright. Hell, I'll even change my answer. It was fucking outstanding.
No, I'm afraid you don't know how it works around here.
Well, how the fuck does it work around here then?
Oh, you'll see. Ela, get the mustard gas! We have a different opinion.
Ah, fuck that, I don't even like mustard. I gotta get out of here.
Aw, damn it! How am I supposed to feed the baby?
What is up, guys? It's Leafy, and I know exactly what you're thinking. You already made an H3 rant on your old channel. Why the fuck do you think you need to make another one? And my answer to that is, this time things are different. Ever since I made the last video about him, Ethan's changed quite a fucking lot. Like in recent times, he's been getting called a snake more than I ever have, and I'm literally the reptile of YouTube. So doesn't that definitely say something? Anyways, I'm just gonna give you a background as to what kind of creature we're dealing with. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Now, the first thing I'd like to address in this video is Ethan's main channel, H3H3 Productions. Now, I was originally going to comment on how this dude just abandoned his main channel and decided to make a shitty podcast full-time instead, but while I was making this video, Ethan did what was thought to be impossible. He literally uploaded to his main channel, and guess what? The video was shit. You heard me right. 9 months of waiting for a shitty subpar video that literally never needed to be made in the first place. And why that is because the video that Ethan made is basically just him reacting to a bunch of miscellaneous related videos that literally everyone has already talked about on Twitter. And with that said, Ethan didn't have anything to add. And this video also really pissed me off because throughout the entire video, he didn't even fucking address how he never uploaded on that channel for 9 months. Like, don't you think his fans deserve a little bit of an explanation as to why his main channel's been dead for the past year? Ethan doesn't think so. Because every week on a separate channel, he's been making good content. Good content. The H3H3 podcast is literally the worst podcast on the internet. Ethan's interviewing skills with people are just awful. It's like he interrupts his guests every single time they speak, and it's so fucking annoying.
It's that's how it goes. Like if you make something in the context of
Are
you
going
to do more seasons?
Yeah, I mean, to
of
me,
the TV show, you mean?
Of the TV show.
Yeah, if we're lucky enough to run it back,
yeah.
It's gonna be a hit.
So you can always renegotiate stuff, no?
Yeah, exactly, and it's a good team now.
Well, last time.
Ethan, literally just shut the fuck up and let the man speak, you fat toad. Also, another thing I hate is Ethan's laptop. Like every other minute it seems, he's trying to validate his opinions by trying to find someone on Reddit that agrees with him. It's literally a problem. This preoccupation with his computer disables him from listening to his guests. And because he's not listening, he wants to have details repeated to him, which in turn causes the interrupting I mentioned earlier.
Of the TV show, you mean?
It's a good team now.
Well, last time.
I mean, it would be a lot of pressure if I had to do like math.
Let me ask you this.
While we're on the topic of the laptop, Ethan really enjoys scripting the fuck out of his podcast. To illustrate this point, I'm going to be using a clip of Gokunaru's video, The Death of H3H3 Productions Video Vigilante.
So we just got a good look at the Google Doc he uses to question this guy. And wouldn't you know it, it outlines every single question he asks.
For me, and I got a big outfit. And
So you're a successful dentist. What is your passion? Is it comedy or dentistry?
Well, I wasn't doing this for money. I'm not making money doing it. It's a passion from here.
So what does your wife think about the...
She thinks I'm nuts. And I got my oldest son that thinks I'm nuts, and my young one thinks I'm hysterical.
What does she think about all the female attention you get?
It even has some of the fucking jokes that he uses.
Jimmy emails me very frequently. He pretty much emails me like 5 times a day. We're best friends. He emails Hila too.
Except I ended up blocking him.
Yeah, so this man just basically relies on a fucking Google Doc to literally run through his entire 3-hour podcast. Like, what is this guy, have fucking AIDS or some shit? Like, what the fuck? But all in all, the H3H3 podcast is cheap manufactured garbage made with only monetary gain in mind. The podcast sucks. Let's move on to the next topic. So you guys remember that Gokinaru guy I talked about earlier? Well, as I said before, he did a fucking outstanding expose video on H3, and because the video was so well done, it got massive attention all across YouTube. And from this video, a lot of people realized that Ethan's a shitty guy that makes shitty content. It even got to the point where Ethan himself had to address the criticism on his podcast. Oops, did I just say address the criticism? What I meant to say was that he never talked directly to the audience about it at all, and just danced around it like a pussy. But that's not to say he didn't pay attention to the video. No, he knew fully well of the video's existence. In fact, he despised that video so much because he knew that it was the main thing soiling his reputation. And this is where the conspiracy comes in. So about a year after the video was released, it literally got taken down by YouTube themselves because he apparently simulated violence by holding a gun in his thumbnail. Now, you gotta admit, that reason is pretty fucking weak. Like, okay, even if that does break a YouTube harassment guideline, couldn't they have just send him an email or something? Basically saying, hey, your thumbnail violates terms of service, you mind changing that for us? Because at least a thumbnail can be modified or replaced. Why, may I ask, did YouTube just take down the entire fucking video? Well, because Gokinaru is the victim in all this, I'll let him explain.
I think it clearly shows you haven't moved on from it. The criticism still bothers you. And in case there's any doubt in anybody's mind that, he's actually seen the video, if you go to the episode of the podcast where he has Gus Johnson on, in that podcast episode, when he clicks the video tab, you can see that my username is in his history. As in, he typed my username in there, and he knows how to type it, unlike 99% of the people who are only vaguely aware of me. What's even funnier is that podcast was on April 10th, and Susan Watch Kiki released her letter to creators on April 30th. By doing a little bit of research with help from Bedhead Bernie, we were able to figure out that Susan visited H3 on April 18th, 2019, the same day that she visited James Charles and Shane Dawson, judging by her outfit. This means that between the Gus Johnson podcast, where you can see I was in his history, and Susan visiting them, there was only 8 days.
So if you didn't get the gist of that, basically what he's insinuating is that Ethan essentially snitched to YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki to get the video taken down. And judging by all this factual evidence Gokinaru laid down for us, it's fair to say that this conspiracy is most likely true, and Ethan's been a bitch boy who can't accept criticism all along. But yeah, if you want to hear more about this, I suggest you watch Gokinaru's response video about it. He basically cites everything there is to know about the original video's removal. But speaking of Ethan, I think it's time we talk about him one more time before this video's done. Now at this segment of the video, we're kinda going full circle, because it kinda goes back to my old video about H3 from 2016. Because back then I mentioned how much of a fucking hypocrite Ethan is, and not to my surprise, he's still a massive hypocrite. Even after almost 4 years of me ignoring him, he's still struggling to face the problems he faced half a decade ago. I'm not really gonna be talking as much as I'm just gonna show you clips of him being a hypocrite. Personally, I think they do a lot better of a job demonstrating why we shouldn't listen to this guy. But regardless, let's see some examples.
I don't think Felix is a racist person, but god damn, he really kind of just was really comfortable using that word. Nigger, faggot, whore. It's just a wonderful string of words that really gets you going. That really just kind of, fuck you, nigger, faggot. Yeah. Like you're reaching for all these words, right? And you're like, oh, let me just like a little N-bomb for you. Me and Leafy are friends, you know?
People keep saying that the website is sketch and all this stuff, and it's like, you guys can form your own opinions and do your research.
You can form your own opinions and do your own research, unlike I did before I sold it to you.
I have never used the service. We checked it to make sure that within 24 hours a therapist contacted us, and they did. So we did some due diligence in that regard to test out the service, but I never endorsed it. I never said that I used it to treat my depression either. It's okay, guys, to disagree with me.
Right.
I have to say, I lost...
Because you really have to reach.
I had lost a little bit of faith in humanity recently, seeing the reaction to our recent podcast. Because you know what? If you think I'm wrong, if you think that I'm a racist and a hypocrite, if you didn't bother to watch the podcast and you downvoted and you left a mean comment and you called me a hypocrite, fuck off. We're not fucking assholes.
You see what I mean? Thank you guys so much for staying this long. I really wanted to make this video to highlight how this YouTuber took the biggest fall from grace imaginable. And also, you know, I just had to sort out some unfinished business. I'm also very sorry how this video came out a bit late. I was working really hard on it, but I know a way to make it up to you guys. Because next video is gonna be about a man. A man who still has his pride, but he's lost literally everything else. I'll see you guys then.